Well, good morning. It's Friday morning. Today we read from verse 15 through 17 of Matthew 18. If your brother sins against you, go and tell him his fault, between you and him alone. If he listens to you, you have gained your brother. But if he does not listen, take one or two others along with you, that every charge may be established by the evidence of two or three witnesses. If he refuses to listen to them, tell it to the church. And if he refuses to listen even to the church, let him be to you as a Gentile and a tax collector. Well, that's not very nice, is it? One of the things that someone said once, that in the church we're mostly concerned with being nice to each other. And here we have an example of what to do if there's a conflict. Jesus says you go to the person and talk to them. You don't avoid them and talk about them to other people. You go talk to them, and if they won't listen to you, or if you can't resolve it, then you take a couple of witnesses along and do it that way. In the Bible, in that ancient society, two witnesses was enough to establish that something was true, and so that's why two or three witnesses are the best way to do this. And he says if that doesn't work, and this may reflect Matthew's experience a little later, he says tell it to the church, tell it to the gathered community. And if the church can't resolve it, then cut them off. Let them be like Gentiles and tax collectors, outsiders and sinners. Well, if you've ever read old session minutes, and that's so much fun, I hope that you'll do that some month. If you look at really old session minutes, and I'm saying like 100 years ago, 125 years ago, they're full of discussions of elder so-and-so's, 2 elders, 3 elders, visited some people and talked to them about their behavior or their lack of participation in worship or their lack of being present for communion, those sorts of things. And that's all the session did, was sort of keep track of people's behavior and police their activities. Nowadays, sessions almost never discuss anything like that. They mostly are program managers, boards of directors who listen to reports and say, that sounds good, keep it up. So it's a very different style of church that we have in our time. And something's been lost in that, the sense that the church would have some sort of moral authority over people's behavior. I don't want to go around and tell people how to behave and what to do and what to think, but there's some good in that. I hope you can see that. And Jesus says, do this way, and this is the way to reconcile conflicts, as opposed to, taking people to court, that sort of avenue. Let's just have a look quickly. Yeah, sometimes when we're have an event like this, it says if your brother sins against you, do these things. Sometimes people will come up to you and say, well, when you said this, that, or the other, I was offended, but I have forgiven you. And so forgiveness becomes this kind of baseball bat that they beat on you with. I don't think that's the kind of thing that we're supposed to do, or that Jesus imagines us doing at all. Forgiveness is not a weapon to be wielded, but forgiveness is a style of life, a manner of living that we're supposed to strive for. And resolving conflict is something that we're supposed to do, rather than simply, avoid it and hope it goes away. If you ever had cross words with somebody, and instead of dealing with it, you sort of let it settle and then go on with life and don't talk about it. That's not helpful either, because the conflict is still there, underneath and rumbling around. So I expect all of you to be rushing over to your neighbor's house and working out your conflicts today. And tomorrow we'll continue with the rest of that little paragraph, which veers off into a different discussion, and we'll do that Saturday morning, and we'll see you then.